Hey everybody, Steven here, and today looking at the CyberOne stand-up desk from LiveTab. This has the most tech integrated into it out of any desk I've ever reviewed. It's also the most expensive. This is normally $3,000. Right now it's on sale for $2,600. That's still very expensive. But with that, you're getting a lot of stuff with this desk. We have a dual motor with this, so one, it's going to be just quieter when it's going up and down, but also it's going to be able to handle more weight. This can handle 275 pounds. Just some of the features here. You're going to have a charging hub that has USB-C and A. This has a heating and cooling coaster. That's ridiculous. You're going to have integrated wireless charging. You're actually going to have a pegboard on the back so you can hang your controllers and things like that if you wanted to. You're going to have a hanging storage cabinet for your stuff. You're going to have a pull-out drawer on this. This has pop-up Bluetooth speakers. You have the RGB lighting on this. You do have the ability to run a lot of this stuff from their app as well, which I'm going to look at all this stuff later on in the video. But yeah, this has a lot going on with it. So the next thing here is going to be building this thing out. It comes in 4 boxes. This is a lot of stuff to build out, so I'm probably going to have to do it in stages. My normal desk that I've had for a long time, the main one here in the office, this is the Live Edge wood topper that I got from Home Depot on top of the autonomous stand-up desk legs. I love this desk. I still want to keep it, but this is now going to be the main desk in the office. The original plan was to take this and swap it out for the secondary rig that I usually have set up. I've since moved that desk because I was going to put this one there, but I measured it. It's not going to fit. So I think I'm temporarily going to put it there. I just don't know what I'm going to do with it right now. It may become my new B-roll station, which is this desk right here, and then I'll swap that over there. I don't know. But I still want to keep this thing. But again, this is going to be the main desk now, and I'm really excited to see just all the features that this has packed into it. With that being said though, let's go ahead and get into the build out process now. All right, so on the front of the box, it is labeled. So this is box 4 of 4, 2 of 4. This is box 3 of 4. So this should be 1 of 4 here. I don't know that you necessarily need to go in order, but it is labeled, which is nice. All right, so in the first box, we're gonna have our installation guide. It looks very well laid out with everything. Nice booklet, but it is a lot of steps. So again, this is probably gonna take a minute. So in this box, we have the RGB lighting kit here. They're actually tube lights. I reviewed a similar product from Govee. I really like this. It creates a good amount of light diffusion here. So it's not like a regular kind of like cheap LED RGB light strip that you would find where there's no cover on all of it. So you don't get that same light diffusion. So you just have these points that are brighter and then it kind of goes a little bit dim and then it's brighter at the next one. This will even all of that out. Very high quality here. This product alone, when I bought it from Govee, was like 100 to 150 bucks just for the little lighting kit that I got. So very nice to see that everything with this so far has been very premium. So in the second box, you have the legs and the base for the legs. And this is where it goes back, like everything here is very premium. This is super heavy. Very heavy duty on this. We have, I'm assuming, steel on the bottom here, and then we have the plastic covering on top. No other colors though, so they have the green accents on this. As far as I know, that's the only color that they have. So potentially if you didn't like that, maybe you could remove these and spray paint them, but you're kind of stuck with that color. And then here we have the legs. It is labeled left and right, just to make it easy for when you install them. Even the cabling here, very heavy duty. And then this is going to be your power cable. So on the left side, you're going to have your power cable. And then you can see the RGB lighting on the back of the legs as well. So here, this is big. Like, I'm assuming obviously it slides in there and then pops out. But we have our little clamp here, so I'll take this out, slide it in, and then secure it on the bottom, lighting up top, and then this is where it plugs in. But we got two of them right here. So with the hardware, everything is labeled. So on the bag, this one is F. It'll tell you it has 4 pieces. It'll tell you the screw type, all of that. It'll tell you where it's going. And then you do have the tools that you will need inside of the box as well. And then any of these, for instance, like this one right here, it's a little bit different size than this kind of seems to be the universal one. It does have the Allen wrench or hex key for these as well. First chunk is done. Now on to all the intricate stuff. All right, so the next part here says you can open the silicone plug at the front and back of the table foot to adjust the table balance using the hex wrench. This isn't imbalanced in my room here, so I'm not going to mess with that. Shifting to the next part, we're going to put the board on the back here where you can mount all that stuff. So this is going to be interesting. Just one of me. It does mention multiple times have a couple people, but I just have me right now, so we're going to make this work. So this is heavy. Okay. So this is this part. Let's see how we do this here. Clicks onto the back. Yup. This is also, after we get this up, the point where we put up the lights on the back of this thing. Alright, so let's get this part set up here. Okay, so with this, you're going to need to use this little cardboard guide. I like that. So it lets you know, like, hey, this is exactly where this needs to go on the back. That way, when you line everything up, it's exactly how it needs to be, and then you're not off by a little bit, and you have to go back through and try and fix it.
After the lights, the next part here was just putting the Bluetooth speakers in, which is pretty simple. It just has a ring that you use to fasten it to the actual desk. And then I'm putting in the heating and cooling coaster, which uses a bracket in order to actually fasten it into place. All of these have the connecting pins right there, so you're not actually having to route any wiring or anything like that. It's all just set up for you, so you just plug it in and then it's good to go.
All right, so for this step, it's the cable management tray, and it essentially hangs with these hooks off of this backer board here. With that, you could actually put it on the front, it says, if you wanted to. And then, so that's the one way. There's 3. The other 2, it's the orientation, but it would hang off the bottom, which I'm going to do. So you could have essentially this larger part right here in the front, or you could flip it around and have it that way. I'm actually going to have mine so it's like this, because I want the cables on the inside of the desk and not facing away from it. All right, third time's a charm on this part. The diagram is throwing me off. It's one of those things where you look at it and it looks like It could be one way just with how it's drawn out, but it could also be this other way. So I've chosen wrong twice now. It's just one of the shelves. It has to go this way. Finally, it clicked based off the screws on the outside here. So you may run into that with some of this where it looks like it's one way. You might want to kind of piece it together for a second, and then it'll be, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to go. All right, so I finished making the desk last night. It is the next day. And so now the fun part, I have to swap out the desks, and that's gonna be quite the process. I'm gonna wipe some of this stuff down too, just because there's some, it looks like dust or something from the boxes on it. I did notice for any of these areas where we have the coaster, we have the speakers, if you didn't want to mess with those, you have covers for those. Or if you wanted to swap out, for instance, the coaster here, they do have this little holder here where you can put that there instead if you just find that you're not using it that much. So now let's go ahead and swap these desks out, and then we get to explore all the different features that this desk has.
So now that I have this built, let's talk about the features in a little more detail. The dual motors here can handle up to 275 pounds, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and this has an adjustable height range of 28 inches at the lowest position, and then up to 45 inches at the highest position. LiveTab said the noise here when raising and lowering is around 55 decibels. The desk controller is laid out really well with the desk height adjustment on the left and the speakers, coaster, Wi-Fi, and lighting controls on the right. The Wi-Fi is for helping connect this to the Smart Life app, which I use this for other devices in my house, so this actually made it very simple to use as I don't need another app on my phone to control this now. From the app, you'll be able to adjust the height, coaster settings, and RGB lighting. The lighting and coaster settings offer more than just the controller on the desk. Specifically, the lighting, you'll get more lighting effects, and for the coaster, you'll get a timer function, which is great. For the Bluetooth speakers, when you push the button on the controller, they will actually rise up, which is really cool to see. And then you have the option to connect these via Bluetooth or an auxiliary cable. These are 15 watts each and get really loud, and they have a very rich sound to them. So let's go ahead and do a quick sound test of me playing Destiny 2 with the audio adjusted in post to match the rest of the video. But that's the only thing I'm going to change here. But I'm not going to actually showcase just how loud these get, because it'll get so loud it's just going to distort the sound. This is really a sound test to showcase the quality and the richness of the audio here that you will get out of these speakers. Now for the sound test, I was using the Bluetooth connection to the speakers. For the auxiliary cable option, I have too many cables running to my PC, so I was actually getting some static feedback, so keep that in mind. I actually don't have Bluetooth built into my motherboard either, so I had to get a Bluetooth adapter. After I got that, setting this up was really easy, and then playing games was fun with this. The only thing I would say here is you may have to mess around with the spatial sound being turned off in Windows if you're running Windows, potentially actually turning on the mono sound in Windows as well to help smooth out the audio, because it almost feels like it's trying to play back the sound in surround sound, but since it's just the two speakers, it actually throws off the audio positions of different things going on when gaming. For the aesthetics with this though, I think LiveTab nailed the look. Here you have that RGB light ring, and then underneath that is a mirror. So you have that infinity look to this, which just looks so cool in person. For the front USB ports, I'm going to showcase an image off of the LiveTab website listing for this because it's laid out really well. But here you can see that there's one USB-C that can do up to 100 watts of power for those more power hungry devices like a laptop or your handheld, while the rest of them are going to do 18 watts. Here you have 4 USB Type-C and then 4 USB Type-A ports, so you're definitely covered when it comes to plugging things in and charging them. Next, we have the coaster, which is something I didn't think I would care much about, but now that I have it, I'm hooked. This works with metal, glass, or ceramic mainly, as you wouldn't want to heat up plastic as it obviously would melt. You could cool plastic though. For the temps this can achieve, you have a cooling range of 23 to 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit, and for the heating, you have 140 to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. This has an LED light towards the top that lets you know if this is heating or cooling, which is nice. And I noticed this helps when I have a drink that's initially too hot to drink, so I can actually cool it down now to the temperature that I want it to be at, and then switch over to the heat to keep it warm. In the app, you have the option to set a timer on this, which is awesome, so you don't forget about it and just walk off. For the cooling, you can actually see that this builds up some condensation and even some ice, which is crazy. But the one thing I would want people to be aware of is this is noisy because it is a machine that's doing all of this. So for streamers or people that do a lot of Zoom calls, it might be too much noise for you as you're doing the videos. Just a heads up. For everyone else though, this is going to be fine. I actually forgot about the noise once I started gaming, as the audio just drowned out any noise coming from this. For the main bracket on the right hand side, this can handle up to 175 pounds, which is great because my PC sits on this and it's really heavy. I do wish it was 1 inch wider since my PC case is really wide, but for most people, this isn't going to be an issue. The outside of this has a pegboard, so if you have hooks that actually fit the pegboard style that this has, you can mount certain things like controllers or a headset, which specifically for a headset, this is going to be great because this doesn't have any headset holders built into it, which I will say I wish this did have because I use a handful of different headsets, and with this there's no place to put them really outside of just lying them on the desk or trying to find a hook that will fit the pegboard, which, speaking of that, we have the back pegboard, and I like the visual look of this. It is really cool. Finding hooks or attachments that will actually fit this has been hard. So I've ordered a handful of different styles or variations off of Amazon. I've gone down to Lowe's. I just can't find any that really fit this. It's not just a hole, it's more of almost kind of like an oval or like a pill shaped opening on this. And so with that, most of the hooks are made for just the hole. Now, if they did just the holes on this, I think visually that wouldn't look as cool. It wouldn't look as aesthetically pleasing. So I know why they went with this style, but it isn't a style that is very common. So because of that, it is very hard to find anything that fits this. I watched one video on this desk where the person said that the IKEA pegboards, those attachments actually fit this. So I'm going to try to order those, but again, it's not something that's very common that you would just find at your local hardware store or even off of Amazon. I think here LiveTab should actually just include some attachments. It would make this so much easier to work with because again, it's not a universal pegboard style. And so if they just included it, considering the price of all of this, I think that would be a much better way to go. So until I can actually get some hooks that fit this, unfortunately, I can't take advantage of this, but I am excited for getting hooks in that do fit this so I can mount certain things like controllers and headsets and things like that. But I think something else to consider here would be the fact that if you're looking at the brackets on the outside, if you're looking at this pegboard on the back, these are actually add-ons that you can purchase separately to the main desk. And because it is a separate thing that you can purchase, I definitely think the better move here would be to include the accessories, the hooks and things like that for this pegboard, because nothing's worse than buying something you want for a particular use case only to find out you have to purchase another separate thing to fully use it as intended. Moving on though, we have the wireless phone charger, which folds flat when not in use, but it can flip up, and it even has some rotation to it. This is 15 watts for the power delivery, which is great, but I notice it won't stay connected with thicker phone cases with my iPhone. It works great without the case, but if I have the case on this and I put it up to it and I'm gonna charge it, it'll stay connected for a couple seconds before losing that connection. So just keep that in mind if you plan on using this. For storage options, you have the pull-out drawer, which is tall enough to store controllers, which is a big plus for me since I use a couple different ones, and it's overall big enough to keep my desk decluttered, which I've always had an issue with. I also like the fact that this is push to release here, so I don't accidentally pull out the drawer. The other storage option here is going to be the toolbox on the left-hand side, which can hold your drink, controllers, tools, etc., and is capable of holding up to 44 pounds. Next, you have the lighting on the backside of the pegboard and the legs, which looks great and it gets plenty bright. The combo of this with my Govee lights looks really awesome. Now, I don't know that I'll actually add my DreamView Pro light with the camera back to this setup, but maybe down the road, since I can actually take the colors that are on my monitor and then translate it to the lights. But here I'm worried that that's going to be too much lighting on the desk at that point, and it may just kind of look off or just be too bright. It drowns everything else out. The desk controller has some basic color options and lighting effects on it, but if you want to get more out of this, you'll need to use the app. I'm hoping they add even more options via the app down the road though, and even potentially a color wheel option so you can choose the specific color you want instead of just these kind of presets where you're getting red, blue, green, things like that. So the CyberOne desk offers a ton of customization and options with an overall build quality I've yet to see in another desk. Some areas I would like to see improved though, if they do an update to this or another version, would be more color options when it comes to the color accents, as you are stuck with the green here. I think the pegboard should come with some attachments for ease of use. There aren't any grommets here to run cables through this, and you actually don't have any extra cable management options underneath the desk. That one's kind of easy to solve. You can buy clips and things like that, but some built-in ones here would be nice. The current cable management tray is nice, but I would like to see an increase in the overall size because you're dealing with a very large desk, which means you can put more things on this, which means more cables potentially. And last, you don't really have a good area to mount a mic arm on this. Mine is on the left-hand side corner. And this is barely hanging on to the frame here. So anytime I go to raise up the microphone, it actually just slips this mic arm off. I would need a larger platform here, and you don't really have a good edge on this on the left-hand side to do this with. So an area almost dedicated to putting a microphone arm would be nice, or even if they put a grommet between the coaster and the speaker on this left-hand side. Most of these microphone arms do come with a way to mount this inside of a grommet, so that potentially could be an option as well. But I do understand that's going to be a little bit harder because of the framing that they have here underneath, because of all the different cables and things that they already have lined up. That is a little bit harder, but it does need a spot to mount a mic arm, because right now the way I have it set up, it's just not quite working here. Now, if none of these things are things you are worried about, then you're going to love this desk. If some of those things are deal breakers for you, you might think about some workarounds for those issues and if it's going to be worth it or not, which I'm still trying to figure out some of my options when it comes to workarounds for these issues, which I've actually enjoyed. But I definitely think the upside of this desk far outweighs anything I'd like to see improved. But I want to hear from you. Do you think all of the features this desk has to offer is worth the $2,600 price tag, or is this something that you wouldn't take full advantage of? Let me know in the comment section, and I'm going to have a link for this in the description if you want to pick it up. That's going to be it for this one. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.